guys were actually trying to each other's lives.
Place. Many kids would also have BB gun fights with their friends. Risks of inhaling the chemicals at the time.
Side effects of pesticides. Various types of cancers to neurological disorders, developmental delays in children, and effects on reproductive capacity. There's no way. This is crazy. Right guys, a fellow Gen Z Brit, born in the 2000s, very curious minds, going to be checking out 13 dangers kids today ignored in the 1970s. I can't believe this. Look, I already know from the videos that I've done, like the 1970s, 80s, in that realm, smoking, the things you guys be doing outdoors before the internet, time seems so dangerous. Like, at least now everything's way more just secured, there's safety precautions and all of that stuff. So every time I go back to these periods, like, I'm sure I'm gonna get my dose of anxiety because I don't even want to know how bad it got. And from what I'm aware, you guys be telling me that these videos don't even saying everything. But look, this one's from Recollection Road. Again, another channel that I've checked out a few times, do these kind of nostalgic compilations. So look, if you guys want to check out their videos, it'll be linked in the description of mine, and you can check out their channel as well. But of course guys, look, if you love me and on this, you love these kinds of videos, then don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss another one of these videos, and like these videos so I know you guys want to see more. I recently did a full movie reaction to Princess Purple Rain movie, so if any of you guys are interested in that, then definitely check it out. I also checked out some Sid and Marty Krofft intros, some 1970s commercials. Look, it's going on a Patreon right now. That's where you're gonna get all of this extra bonus content that I can't post on YouTube. So if you guys haven't got on there already, then get on there. I got so much more coming your way. I'm thinking of reacting to the Breakfast Club movie, so definitely stay in tune for the Patreon. But guys, look, with that being said, let's get straight into this video. Let's go.
Growing up in the 1970s was an adventurous and carefree time where kids still had plenty of freedom. They explored, played, and took risks that would make some people cringe today.
Look at this.
Safety certainly wasn't the top priority, but these daring activities did leave us with an independent spirit, and the memories still bring a smile to those.
I've never seen so many kids in a park in my entire existence, okay? Because nobody goes to the park anymore like that. Like, unless it's a play date. Other than that, you're not going to the park. Or you're going to the park for nefarious reasons.
Did leave us with an independent spirit, and the memories still bring a smile to those who lived through it. So let's take a look back at the dangers kids ignored in the 1970s.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be way more than 13 because you guys are doing a lot back in the day.
In the 1970s, kids still spent quite a bit of time around train tracks.
What?
If they weren't placing pennies on the tracks, they might be found hurling rocks at passing trains or using the rails as a balance beam. Walking along the tracks was common, and making it across a trestle was an adventure for many kids. Despite the dangers, kids would dare each other to keep going, even when they heard the distant rumble of a train. The narrow trestles, which sometimes stretched over deep ravines, added to the thrill. Back then, the potential danger of falling or being hit by a train was a real fear, but some kids still worked up the courage to accept the challenge.
Guys, this is why I ask questions like, how did you guys survive? And you know what? I feel like I'm getting my answers to these questions. The ones that did survive made it to this day. The ones that didn't survive, they all lost out, unfortunately, because of stuff like this. Because that is insane. I'm thinking of tracks now, so maybe I need to like shift my perspective, because I know at least in the UK, if you step on that third railing, from what I've heard, that's an electric shock that's causing you life. Do you know what I'm saying? You might lose your life if you step on the wrong thing. But I don't know what tracks are like in America. I don't think it's the exact same. But either way, this in itself is hella mad.
Having a BB gun was a regular pastime in the 1970s. Target practice was usually an old soda can, and carrying them around the neighborhood was commonplace. Many kids would also have BB gun fights with their friends. In the 1970s, being shot by a BB was a badge of honor, and no adults were around to tell them to stop. Getting hit on your bare skin would leave a good-sized welt, but it would heal and not stop you from doing it again. Sure, BBs could ricochet and hit someone in the face or eye, but that was just an acceptable risk.
Hey, I don't want to get hit in the face or the eye with a BB gun because whoa, this is why I don't like doing these videos. I'm not even fully through the second one, and I know about these BB gun fights, but when I actually see pictures and look at it in person, I'm like, yo, those things hurt, man. And if someone's got a terrible aim, and it goes in your, that's I'm not trying to play around with that, man. That's
a good sized welt, but it would heal and not stop you from doing it again. Sure, BBs could ricochet and hit someone in the face or eye, but that was just an acceptable risk. In those days, everyone, including parents, seemed to have a much higher tolerance for danger.
It looks like it. It looks like it.
Exploring abandoned buildings or sneaking onto construction sites was a classic 1970s activity. Kids were outside constantly and would fill their day with all sorts of adventures, including climbing over rusty nails, broken glass, and loose boards without giving it a second thought. The thrill of discovering an empty space and turning it into a secret clubhouse or battleground outweighed the risks of stepping on sharp objects or scraping your knee. No one really worried about it, and most parents didn't even know where their kids were spending their afternoons.
Right.
The freedom to roam and make some risky choices was what growing up was all about.
It seems, the complete opposite of how things are today. If you let your child go out and you don't know where they're going, and nor do you care that much where they're going because you give them so much freedom and independence, people will look at you like you don't care about your child because, how you guys had it back in the good old days is, for like, you're seeing my genuine reaction to this. Like, I cannot believe, like, this is shocking to me. Whoa.
Rolling down hills in giant tractor tires was the kind of wild, unpredictable fun that made the 1970s an exciting time to be a kid. You'd climb inside and let your friends push you down a steep hill, completely out of control as the tire gained speed. It didn't matter if you crashed into a tree or rolled off into the bushes. It was all about who could stay rolling the longest. You'd of course end up dizzy and banged up, but it was all in the spirit of fun. With no helmets, no supervision, and no way to stop once the tire got going.
Right.
It was a game that gave kids a shot of pure adrenaline.
Yeah, you guys just had a different, you guys are built different, man. You guys are built different. My shot of adrenaline is, I don't know, turning off my location. Do you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm trying to give an example. What would give me a shot of an adrenaline? An adrenaline shot. Lol. I don't even know. What do kids nowadays do for a shot of adrenaline? Like, just go somewhere your parents don't know you're going. Yeah, don't tell your parents where you're going. That is how you get a shot of adrenaline. Shout out to you guys that are parents that have Gen Z children, because yes, that's what we do for shots of adrenaline. But you guys were going out for fun, and that was normal. And doing these things for that's different. That's different.
It was a game that gave kids a shot of pure adrenaline. Playgrounds in the 1970s were a whole different experience, especially with their tall, all-metal structures. Climbing to the top of a hot metal slide or navigating the jungle gym was both thrilling and dangerous. In the summer, the metal would get scorching hot, and kids could easily get burned. And if you fell, you weren't landing on soft rubber mulch like today. There was just hard dirt or even concrete. But this didn't stop us. We would climb onto the merry-go-round just to see how much speed we could take before being thrown off. The swing sets would often lift off the ground the higher you swung, yet we would still see how far we could push it. The 1970s playground may have been the most dangerous place a kid could be, especially when you add in the inevitable dare from a friend. It certainly was an unforgettable part of childhood.
I've seen these parks, and I would not try and, like, if that just looks like a broken arm and a leg waiting to come, man, because that's different. This is like the fourth one in. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to make it through this video.
Back in the 70s, as kids were roaming free, they often snacked on wild berries or sipped nectar from honeysuckle vines while playing outdoors. It was part of a carefree spirit of the time. If it looked like food, kids would try it, and so would most adults. There was always a slight chance of eating something poisonous or having an allergic reaction. But that didn't stop kids from enjoying nature's bounty. It added to the adventure of playing in the yard or exploring the neighborhood, and most kids were taught by their parents what wild plants were safe to snack on.
If you leave your child for more than 5 minutes alone, you're gonna get a case for that. Yeah, let alone let them go out into the real world and do a madness and potentially so like this is like the fifth one. Every single one of these is crazy to me. Whoa.
Building a makeshift bike ramp and daring each other to jump over friends was an everyday thrill for 1970s kids.
Jeez.
The ramps were usually cobbled together from old wood, wobbly and unstable, because you had to work with what you could find. You'd see how much air you could get, with friends lying on the ground below, cheering you on. And of course there were no helmets or pads, and crashing was likely. So scraped knees and bruised egos were something that kids learned to deal with. In those days, kids lived for the adrenaline rush and the bragging rights that came with a successful jump. Nothing felt freer than riding in the back of a...
Let me see that video again, man. No helmet and no, like, this is actually what you guys were actually trying to end each other's lives.
Deal with. In those days, kids lived for the adrenaline rush and the bragging rights that came with a successful jump.
And I'm just thinking of how many failed attempts that would have taken to get it that range. Or maybe you kept doing it until you saw how far you can go. But this guy fell and he ate it though. He dealt with it well. You guys had a different. You guys are built different. Honestly.
Lived for the adrenaline rush and the bragging rights that came with a successful jump.
You guys are actually built different.
Nothing felt freer than riding in the back of a station wagon with no seatbelts, facing the rear window, and making faces at the cars behind you. In the 1970s, it was common for families to pile into the car for long drives, and kids would often play games or nap in the back, with no worries about strapping on a seatbelt. Parents didn't think twice about it either. It was just how things were done. There were still sudden stops that sent kids flying forward, or turns that made them bump into one another, but it was all still worth it.
Okay, see, now after seeing all of those, the no seatbelt thing seems fine. Like, I'm happy with to go in the car. I'll take that one. All the rest of them.
In the 1970s, kids would willingly chase after DDT trucks as they spread pesticide through neighborhoods, thinking the thick fog was fun to run through. No one really understood the long-term health risks of inhaling the chemicals at the time. It seemed like just another summer activity, like riding bikes or playing tag, and parents didn't seem too concerned either. The trucks would roll slowly down the street, leaving a cloud behind, and kids would race through it.
This brother's literally spraying it as the kids are running into that. Surely this is gonna be like part of a movie clip or fake. Because
thinking the thick fog was fun to run through. No one really understood the long-term health risks of inhaling the chemicals at the time. It seemed like just another summer activity, like riding bikes or playing tag, and parents didn't seem too concerned either. The trucks would roll slowly down the street, leaving a cloud behind, and kids would race through it, giggling and trying to stay in the fog as long as possible.
Just trying to stay in it for as long as possible. Guys, I haven't even finished this video, and the side effects of pesticides, various types of cancers to neurological disorders, developmental delays in children, and effects on reproductive capacity and infertility. Those are some of the side effects of these pesticides that you guys are running into as kids. Like, oh my God. No, how did you survive? There's no way. This is crazy. Oh my God, the mindset was so, you guys were so like different, because you didn't like, nowadays we're more aware of what's like the health risks and all these things. So I'm looking at it from a contemporary lens in it and seeing it for what it was. But back then I can see how that would have been fun. But then now when you know what was actually going on, it's like, that is wild. That is wild.
Through it, giggling and trying to stay in the fog as long as possible.
Crazy.
When winter came, one of the most daring things kids did back then was something called hooky bobbin, which meant grabbing onto the back of a moving car and sliding on the icy streets. It was like a makeshift sledding adventure, except the cars were real and the ice was unpredictable. The goal was to hold on as long as you could without wiping out and getting hurt. There were many forms of this, some including a rope pulling a sled, but it was the thrill of seeing how long you could hang on while the car sped away. This was especially popular on snow days, while kids were at home and needed fun things to keep them busy.
Do you know what's funny? This is the kind of thing that will get you done for child abuse nowadays. Like, like, this is actually wild.
Snow days, while kids were at home and needed fun things to keep them busy.
This video might even get age restricted. That's how, like, you know what I'm saying, different times were like, because
popular on snow days, while kids were at home and needed fun things to keep them busy.
mate.
Playing with fireworks was another exciting, though risky, part of being a kid in the 70s. Whether it was cherry bombs or bottle rockets, kids handled them with very little supervision, lighting them off in backyards for fun or trying to blow something up. Sometimes things didn't go quite as planned, with a black cat going off too soon or a bottle rocket shooting in the wrong direction. But that didn't stop kids from eagerly lighting the next fuse. Playing with small-scale explosives was exciting, especially for young boys during this relaxed era.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Neighborhood games of football or street hockey in the 1970s were all about rough and tumble fun. Nobody wore pads or helmets, and injuries like scrapes, bruises, and the occasional broken bone were just part of being a kid. Full-contact sports were often expected, and everyone played to win. These games could get intense, and would often go on until the streetlights came on, with the kids settling their own disputes and handling whatever bumps and bruises came their way.
I'm just speechless now. I know I'm looking at this from a modern day lens, which makes sense why this stuff isn't allowed like that nowadays because of what we know. But look, shout out to you guys with your battle scars, because I know a lot of you guys have stories. Look, let me know some of your wildest stories and some bruises that you got, and let me know if any of you guys have got any near-death experiences, because I need to know that, because some of these you could have easily have had mad repercussions from a lot of these. So if you guys have any stories, let me know, please.
Playing whatever bumps and bruises came their way.
Because that is... Okay.
In the 1970s, it wasn't unusual to see kids riding bikes, skateboards, or scooters barefoot and shirtless. Summer afternoons were spent zooming down hills, wind in your hair, with nothing between you and the pavement. The risks were clear: cuts, stings, scrapes, and even rashes. But it wasn't something that kept kids from having as much fun as they could. Kids just weren't concerned with covering up. After a rough scrape, Mom was always ready with the Bactine or mercurochrome, and had calamine lotion for things like poison ivy, which was everywhere at the time.
Wow.
And of course, there were always those Band-Aids from the metal tins. I mean, who could forget that Band-Aid jingle from the 1970s?
Depend on the protection of America's #1 bandage.
I am stuck on Band-Aid, 'cause Band-Aid stuck on me.
Is that John Travolta, or am I tripping?
Bandage.
I am stuck on Band-Aid, 'cause Band-Aid stuck on me.
Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and make sure to check the description of this video for links to pick up a t-shirt and sign up for the newsletter.
Yeah, I just know whoever's owned that bandage company and whoever owned the things that you would use to put on, like wherever that money's going, the money was up during the 1970s, bro. Because everyone was getting bruises and cuts by the looks of it, to the point where the mom is just prepared. She's got the stuff in check. They got, you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are... I don't even know how I made it through this video. This is giving me... You guys can see I'm actually like... I knew before I even clicked on this video that this was going to give me like some level of anxiety watching this, because I'm thinking about how dangerous that is in my head before doing it. But then it's like, that's the thing, which is very interesting to see how the mind works and perspective. Because obviously during this time, if you don't know how bad something is, then you're not gonna see it the same way like I might see it. So yeah, I can also see that, you know, playing into it. So it's interesting how the mind works there. 'Cause I know if a lot of you guys probably knew what maybe a lot of us Gen Zers know today, let me ask you that question. Yeah, do you guys think if you knew what you knew now, you would still be doing what you were doing then the way you was doing it? I don't know if that's a good question. Let me know. I'll be very curious to see what you guys have to say about that. Obviously, to be fair, like, you guys don't have internet like that during these times. So if you weren't really going to be doing any dangerous activities, you're going to have to find it from something else, like the adrenaline rush. Because you can't really get dopamine hits from, you know, playing games on your phone like that. At least I can. So yeah, let me know. I actually really want to know the answer to that question, guys. Like, if you made it to this point, I love you guys watch for you. Then just click off to the video ends. Comment down a orange heart so I know who my real ones are. And because I've got oranges right next to me, so I just said let me do orange today for the oranges. Shout out to you guys. Again, I got a place for all of these nostalgic retro videos at the end of the video, so definitely check that out if you guys want to check out some more stuff from me. But yeah, guys, look, as always, look, I've been your boy JayFlex. This has been 13 Dangerous Kids today, totally ignored in the 1970s. And for those guys who made this point, you guys have been absolutely wonderful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.